Hey everyone. So today our lesson is going to be about naming chemical compounds. So we've talked a little bit about compounds, like what do they look like. We've talked about ionic and covalent compounds. We haven't talked about naming yet. So we're going to take a bit of a look at that today. And we are going to start with covalent compounds. So remember, covalent compounds are ones where the elements involved are nonmetals. And there are certain rules that we have to do, or we have to follow, to name covalent compounds. So here's an example here. CO2 is carbon and oxygen. When you're naming covalent compounds, you're usually given the words or the symbols and the numbers. So what we're going to focus on is we're going to focus on the symbols and numbers and how we come up with the name of the compound. So the first word in the name is the name of the first element. So we had C, just move me there. There we go. We had CO2. Remember, C is carbon, so the first word in the name is going to be carbon. The second word is the name of the other element, but it also tells us how many of that element there are in the formula. So the O is for oxygen. We're going to see later, we're changing the ending of the second word to oxide. So anytime you're naming a compound, it's going to end in "ide." And then we have the di here, because the di means two. And we're going to take a look at a chart in a moment and see the different things that we can put at the front to tell us how many atoms of that element there are. So yeah, like I said, the prefix or the beginning of the second word is going to tell us how many atoms there are in that compound. And here's that chart. So if there was one, we wouldn't put a prefix, or sometimes we put the prefix mono, which we're also going to see in a moment. Then 2 would be di, 3 would be tri, 4 would be tetra, and so on. And you can see an example here with chlorine. So chloride would mean there's one chlorine, dichloride would mean there's 2, tri would be 3, and so on and so on and so on. And then the second word, like I said, usually ends in "ide." So that's called the suffix, or that's just the ending of the word, you could say. So carbon dioxide means we have one carbon and 2 oxygens. Here's another example. So this is CO. So we have one carbon and 1 oxygen. We can also use the prefix mono, like I said, to show that there is one atom in the compound. And the second word ends in "ide." So this one, carbon monoxide. We wouldn't say monoxide just because it sounds really awkward. So we would say monoxide. And there we go, carbon monoxide. Now here are a bunch of examples. I am going to go through them in another video, as well as going through ionic compounds. With ionic compounds, we don't have to worry about those prefixes. But yeah, we're going to go through these examples in another video. And until next time, have a good one, guys. See ya.